Hello and welcome to Talker Games match preview. West Ham United against Manchester United. Gonzo, would you like to kick us off with your thoughts on Man U, please?
Yeah, it's another false dawn, I think, for Manchester United. I think, albeit this time has not been created by signings or a manager. It's by Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in and changing things up, and it appears to have changed very little. Well, unless you're Sir Alex Ferguson, of course, who's just lost his nice cushy £2.5 million a year job, but don't worry, he can still sit in the seat. It must be weird for Sir Alex, actually, because Manchester United were pretty much nothing before he turned up. I think they had an FA Cup win after under Ron Atkinson. But before that, it was Sir Matt Busby's club. And I think Manchester United, a sort of huge football institution, which really been built off the back of two individuals in Sir Matt Busby and, of course, Sir Alex Ferguson. So two compatriots of yours, of course, Gio. And I think it must be weird for Sir Alex now to look at the disintegration of certainly an institution that he helped build. And there's no doubt in my mind that it is disintegrating because I think they had to wait might have even been 28 years or something like that between titles. And it's very easy to look, particularly if you're of a certain vintage, and think that Sir Alex Ferguson was sort of a few years ago, 5 years ago, but it wasn't. It was actually a long time ago now, and they look like they're heading towards a similar thing. It would not surprise me at all if they went had another 20-year stint between league titles again. They were always called the richest club in the world. Well, they're not anymore, and I think you can see that certainly looking when you walk around here. I mean, to be fair, people should be having Reading shirts when they walk around here, but they don't. You see them in Chelsea shirts or Paris Saint-Germain shirts or Barcelona shirts. I think there was a point where Manchester United had a global catchment area, and I think they still have a global fan base, but I think you'll find it's probably, much like myself, getting on a bit now. So I think you'll find that the youngsters and the kids are probably not wearing Manchester United shirts. Maybe they always used to make a big play that all the kids in Asia would be wearing, Man United shirts. I'm not sure that's the case anymore. So very much, I think, a club in decline, Gio.
Yeah, I think the Sir Alex thing really does epitomise Man U today. I don't think he'll be surprised at how they've fallen off a little bit. I think he would have seen it coming with, he had these battles with Arsene Wenger and Jose Mourinho, and I think he would have seen that more money creeping into the game, more and more money coming in, and he probably thought, well, hang on, we're now being threatened. We were the bully boys of the Premier League that if Man U come knocking on your door because they wanted to play, you just gave them to them back in the day. Yes, well, this is our price. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. You can have our star player now. And I think towards the end of his tenure, that started to change a little bit. But there was more clubs now able to go up to the other clubs and start knocking on the door and say, how much? What's the figure we're writing on this check? What do you want for your player? There you go. So I think football was changing before he got out, and he probably got out at the right time as well, so that his legacy was that of an incredible legend. And he's a big footballing hero of mine for various different reasons. And what's happened to Sir Alex now shows where Man U have gone to here. And, the fact that they're sort of penny pinching over 2.5 million, and we can all have a discussion whether they've done the right thing or not. But the fact is they're now trying to claw that £2.5 million back because they need it, whereas that wasn't really something that Man United had done previously. And you could say that is why they're in the situation they are. They wasted a lot of money, but I think a lot of that wastage has come on transfer fees when you look at the likes of Anthony, and then they keep on throwing money at the likes of Mason Mount. Not necessarily bad players, just bad transfers for Man United. And the fear factor from that club's gone completely. It is absolutely gone whatsoever. When I was growing up, they were the team that when they rocked up, it was like, oh, here we go, it's Man United kind of thing. Not anymore. It's Man United. Okay, and what you see them on the set? You see them in terms of one-off games. So Sunday, you see them on par with Newcastle United. I see Aston Villa a greater threat than Manchester United these days, and they've really fallen off in terms of on the pitch this season. They've been absolutely crap. I've watched them quite a lot. There's no identity whatsoever. There's just numerous. They beat Brentford last weekend, but before that, they went 3 Premier League games, I think, without scoring a goal. That's just used to be unheard of. The teams don't fear Man U anymore. No. Teams still fear Manchester City. They still fear Liverpool. They fear Arsenal again. They never used to, but they do again now. But Man United, not so much. It's no longer a big fixture in the footballing calendar. Still a huge club.
Oh,
Still
yeah.
a massive club,
Yeah.
but no longer one of the, a title challenging team. It's been a long time since we said that about Man U, and you can't see that changing anytime soon. Now, I'm going to give you the floor here, Gonzo, because I know you're not a big fan of him, but a lot of talk around Erik ten Hag once again. Are you still surprised at that? He's still in a job?
I am. Yeah, I've not been a fan from day one. I don't think he's any better than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I think that has been one of Manchester United problems. I don't want to put too much on it because I just think sometimes you get to a point where you think, well, actually, I'm not sure anybody can manage this club at the moment. It was I saw some pictures last year actually of it was raining and the roof had leaked, and it was like there'd been a tsunami inside the stadium. It was water was cascading down the stairs and down the terraces, looked like a waterfall. And I thought, oh, that's really symbolic of Manchester United. It's just broken and it's creaking, and so I would have I'd say sympathy with West Ham, with Man United fans. That's hard because they've not really suffered, not like like West Ham fans have, and relegation, promotion, and God forbid, teams that are down in League One or whatever. So I don't have that much sympathy for them, but I can understand why they would be disappointed when they've seen their club leveraged with the amount of debt it has by the Glazers, and seen the Glazers get very rich, basically get richer and richer and richer, while that club's got worse and worse and worse. So I don't think Ten Hag's very good. It has to be said. He doesn't fill me with confidence at all. I go back to the game when they played Liverpool and the interview between the two managers this season with Arne Slot and then Ten Hag. You had one of them who tactically was very sharp, very shrewd, knew what was going on, and had a plan in place, and not only told you how he was able to unpick Manchester United, but told you beforehand how they were going to play, and that very much played out, and was able to give a good tactical explanation of what happened. And crikey, I mean, I don't see Roy Keane with fluttering his eyelashes with love in his eyes very often, but you could see really like what Slot was saying. And then Ten Hag sort of came along with the clueless, it just was chalk and cheese, really. Yeah, I think I don't think he's long for the job, to be honest with you, mate, because you'll see this at every club. There'll come a point where actually attention is just going to turn once again. It's not like attention turns to the Glazers, but it could be Sir Jim Ratcliffe as well. And the Glazers, the old the yellow and green scarves might come out. Maybe they never went away. I don't know. But I would think if Man United lose this would not surprise me if this was Ten Hag's last game. But I've been saying that for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad manager. I really liked him when he was at Ajax, and to add context, I would have loved him at West Ham when he was at Ajax. When he was the boss of Ajax, I would have loved him to have come to West Ham. And despite all this, he still won trophies at Man United. So there's still some success in his reign there. It's just, I think the circus around Man United's too big for him to some extent. And I feel a bit sorry for him because a lot of the stuff that gets thrown at him is out of his hands a little bit as well. And it's a difficult place to be. And you look at the transfers and the money they wasted. And now some of them are his players, they've got De Ligt now, they've got Anthony. There's players that he managed at Ajax, at that football club. So you can't get away from the fact that it's Ten Hag's players. But I do look at that squad, and we'll get on to them in a second. I do think, it's just not. It's not a title challenging squad that they've assembled there. He's got a squad that on paper is battling for the Europa League, maybe, and that's where he's got them. So I think he's actually maybe doing what he's supposed to do in terms of what he's got available to him. But when I do watch Man U, they are poor, and I've got sympathy for the fans because it's all relevant. And listen, West Ham fans will think, "Oh yeah, boo-hoo, you're not in the title race." Well, let me find that little violin for you. But it's all relevant because if you're going to say Man U fans aren't allowed to complain because they're not in a title race, then West Ham fans aren't allowed to complain because Bolton Wanderers are a couple of leagues below us, and they used to be independent. And then Bolton fans, you're not allowed to complain because Bury went out of business. So how far do you go? There's always a club worse off than you. So it's all relevant. So I think Man U fans are well within the right to complain that they're not challenging for the title. When you've got that big a fan base, that much revenue coming in, they've still got that pool for a lot of the players.
Yeah.
They should be competing for the title. That should be their ambition, but it ain't working at the minute. It's really bad. And the thing is, if they were to sack I always say El Ten Hag. It's because I always say El Sacchio.
No, Spanish one. I mean,
El
it's like
Sacchio.
we got a Spanish David Moyes. They've now got a Spanish Ten Hag.
Yeah. It's the El Sacchio derby this weekend.
It is a Sacchio derby. It is. You're right. Yeah.
But if they do sack Ten Hag, I have no confidence whatsoever they will make a good appointment. And I kind of want to see it happen just for comedy. I almost want to see Man U sack Ten Hag because I've got a feeling the appointment might be someone like Gareth Southgate, and I'm going to laugh my arse off even more at Man United if they hire Gareth Southgate to replace El Ten Hag. Just very quickly, what do you predict for Man U? Do you reckon they'll win any trophies this season? Where do you think they'll finish in the league? Just quickly.
I don't. I think they'll finish. It depends how quickly they sack El Ten Hag. I'm just wondering what the Spanish version of Gareth Southgate is, but I don't mean El Gareth Southgate. You can't post that in the comments. Be a bit more creative than that. I wonder who the Spanish Gareth Southgate is. Probably doesn't exist.
Gerard.
Oh,
Gerard.
Gerard
Gerard Southgate.
I know. Yeah. I think 9th. If they carry on as they are, I think 8th or 9th, something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say 8th, and I don't think they'll win a trophy. Now, this is where we do players on Meyer, Gonzo, and we will do the question. But I think this is what shows how far Man U have fallen off and how far behind they are. Because when we do these previews with Man City, it's like, just pick 2. Like, resist picking 10, just pick 2. When you do Liverpool, just pick, there's loads, but pick 2. But when it comes to Man U, you are only picking out the couple.
Try and pick 2 that you'd have in West Ham's team. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying. There's the golfing quality between Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, and then Man U. And I would add in even Aston Villa and even Spurs. I think when we did this last week, there was more players. I was thinking, maybe I'll mention this one or this one. There's more players, Spurs players, than Man U players.
No, absolutely. Well, you talk about golfing quality. I hope some of their footballers are quite good at playing golf because they can't kick a bloody football. That's for sure. I look. You talk about Aston Villa, and I was thinking about it as you were saying it. You can make the case that maybe Aston Villa got a better goalkeeper. Well, not even maybe. Aston Villa got a better goalkeeper. Aston Villa got a better centre back, full backs, wingers, strikers. Midfield, you start to look at it and you think, well, the trouble is, man, you don't have enough world-class players anymore. I think if you're going to look at that and maybe look at the clubs that they should be, who out of that team would look out of place in a Barcelona or a team like that, you would think, well, probably Fernandes would grace. He's such a high-quality player. Maybe Martinez. And you start to really scratch around for players who are top level. They don't have enough of them. You hear this thing that Rashford needs to get away from Man United to make the best of his career and all the rest of it. It's exactly the right place. He's not. He is a good player who's not quite world class, and that's where Manchester United are. So I don't. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Players. Do you know what? I'll tell you what I do like. And he's just come back and he scored a lovely goal at the weekend. And by the way, I thought that the fuss that I saw being made that was it De Ligt who went off with a head injury?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Listen, okay, they conceded the goal, but Man United, they were getting battered before that by Brentford. So I thought they should have been behind by that point anyway. So let's get. They weren't. I thought it felt to me like a lucky win for Man United. It has to be said. But Højlund's goal was excellent. I really like him as a player. I know he's been injured. I'd love him at West Ham. Obviously, it's not going to happen. I think he'd be really, really good. He scored against last. I think it was last season. He scored against us. Looked really good as well. I like the irony of when Lee Carsley used to be good in September before he became crap in October. I looked at Angel Gomez playing for England. I thought, wow, what a player! But of course, he was meant to be the next big thing to come out of Old Trafford, and whatever happened there, I don't know. But I did think, that's quite indicative of sort of what's been going on there. Mainu, Manu will be a good player, and he can be a good player. But there's not a lot. There's not a lot going on there, mate.
Yeah, even their better players are poor this season. Bruno Fernandes has been rubbish this season. I think he's a top talent and gets a lot of criticism, and I don't like him. I really dislike the way that he conducts himself on the football pitch, but I can separate that in terms of his just ability as a footballer, and I think he's fantastic. But this season, he's been terrible when I watched him. I thought Dalot was one of the better players last season. Again, I think he's been poor this season when I watched him. I think Mazraoui's looked all right at Man United. I think he's looked quite good so far. Madu, I think, is a really good player. I think he's a real talent, but it almost feels like he's been wasted a little bit when you see him playing next to, Casemiro went from hero to zero pretty quickly at Old Trafford. Ugarte's gone in there, remain unconvinced by him. Rashford finds a little bit of form. Garnacho looks like top talent, but it's one of them. How good can he get? Will he go on to reach the top level? I'm not so sure. So there's a lot of good players at that club, but like you said, they're just lacking that one or two exceptional players. Anyway, enough about Manchester United. We're going to be discussing West Ham United. Before I do, just want to point in direction of Patreon. Basically, would you give Hammers Chat 90 pence per week in order to keep doing 2 videos a day on YouTube for free? If the answer is yes, then you should join Patreon because you can sign up from £3.60 per month. The supporters tier is £3.60, and that includes everything. That's the price you pay. There's no hidden charges, no VAT on there. So when you go in, there's an extra 20% locked on. There's none of that. It's £3.60 all in. But I'll give you one big reason. We have a prediction competition for every single West Ham United fixture, and we're going big this weekend. All you have to do is predict the correct score and first goal scorer of the game. Obviously, you win, and then we have one overall winner if there's multiple winners. If you're a supporters tier subscriber, 90p per week, and you win this weekend, you will win a signed Paulo Di Canio captain's armband. If you're a mild addict, which is £7.20, you will win a signed Paulo Di Canio shirt. Or you can select the armband if you want. We'll let the winner choose. But if you're an addict, if you are the top tier, if you love Hammers Chat and you're willing to part with over £10 a month, it's not cheap, but we like to think we're worth it. You get a lot
better than
Netflix.
We're better than Netflix.
Yes, there you go. It's cheaper than Netflix. So if you're an addict and you win, you will win the signed shirt as well as the signed armband. You get both items. Go to patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Links in the description below. There's loads of content over there. I'm not going to start listing. It'll take too long. Go have a little look. And if you're unsure, you can have a trial of Mild Addict or Addict. You get a week's free Patreon. But I will, just for transparency, I want to be clear. If you're a trialist and you win the prediction competition, you don't get these prizes. We're going to be a little bit.
If you're John Egan,
right.
You don't win the prizes. You got to be signed up like West Fod. You got to be West Fodringham basically to win the prize.
You ain't joining them as an addict on a free trial and receiving a signed shirt and armband that's cost us a 3-figure sum of money, and you're getting it after giving us no pound. That is not happening, right? If you're an addict, if you're a trialist and you win, you get some beer match, right? But it's not the same, obviously. But there you go. Right, Gonzo, time to talk West Ham team news. It's bad news, really. No Niklas Füllkrug. He might be in Germany. He might be in London. We don't really know where he is.
He might be in Germany. That's brilliant. That's why. That's true. It's true. It's true.
We don't. He might be in Spain. El Füllkrug.
Is he fit?
Know.
Right.
We don't know where he is. But I tell you where he won't be, and that's starting for West Ham on Sunday. There's a small chance he might be on the bench, but I think even that's been optimistic. So you're not allowed Füllkrug in your team, and you're not allowed Mohammed Kudus because he has currently a 3-match ban, and it's obviously expected to be extended, but he's definitely not playing on Sunday either. So that's the West Ham team news. This is a team myself and Gonzo would like to see start on Sunday. It doesn't mean the team we think Lopetegui will choose. So in goal, Gonzo, you've got a bit of a decision here, given maybe you don't. What do you think?
Yeah, well, before we get to clean sheet, where's in goal? Last week we did our build-up show to the Tottenham game, and somebody in the live chat said that Füllkrug had missed sort of like 240 games or something like that. And then you said, understandably so, I'm not digging you out, I am a bit, but I didn't know at the time.
I'll dig you.
Yeah, absolutely. You said, oh no, that must be days and not games. And I thought, yeah, he's got it. Whoever's typed that has got it wrong. He hadn't got it wrong. He's been AWOL, missing in action for a long time. So yeah, I just thought it shouldn't amuse me. But sometimes you miss him. You miss him. Then it becomes so ridiculous. West Ham's record with strikers comes so ridiculous. It becomes gallows humour, and you've got to laugh at how crap we are at buying strikers. But anyway, in goal, I'd actually put Fabianski back in goal. Actually, just to say you can't play like that. I would forward the motion that that he was instructed to hoof it long in the previous game, but it wasn't very good. I just don't think you can concede goals. I don't blame him for all of them, but it was the distribution as well. So I'm going to punish him and play Fabianski in goal.
Yeah, the goalkeepers tend to get away with more bad performances than outfielders. An outfielder has a bad performance, they're out for the next game. Goalkeepers sometimes get a second, third, fourth chance, and he's not been great this season, Areola. He's been okay, at worst, at best, depending on how you want to evaluate him. But he was certainly, I thought he was terrible against Spurs. It wasn't just the goals he conceded; it was just his all-round game, and it must have caused a lot of nerves at the back. And I think for this one, I want us to see us just go back to basics a little bit. And this, your goalkeeper almost being a fifth defender in possession. It's good. It's nice. I want to see it long term. But I think for this one, I think just bin that idea off and just take as little risks as you can in this game. Because Man United have been goal shy. Yes, to beat Brentford. And just for context, Man United haven't played Fenerbahce yet. We're recording this during the day, Thursday. So you're watching it Friday. We don't know what the Fenerbahce score is or anything like that. But we're not away to play Barcelona. We're playing a team with low confidence here, possibly. And I think you can just set yourself up to be difficult to beat. I think that might just eat away at them a little bit and have a good defence, be difficult to break down. And you might get success against them without even doing anything at the other end, really. So Fabianski in for me. My back four, Gonzo, I'd stick with the back four because I thought they did okay against Tottenham individually. I think there was some tactical flaws there, but I thought Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman and Emerson, I think some of them had a good game and some of them were okay. Yeah. So I'd stick with the same defence.
Agreed.
Midfield, though, this is where it gets tricky. I don't feel like there's an obvious answer.
No, well,
so
look,
what would you do?
You made the point in your tactical observation in our player ratings where you said, because I thought that Guido Rodriguez was decent at his best half of football. And but you said in the first half that the tactics suited him, and you were absolutely right. I don't think we're going to play those tactics, nor should we play those tactics. I'm this is a measure going back to the start of the video of how far I think Manchester United have fallen. Is Tottenham have a far more dangerous attack and passing interchanges and patterns of play than Manchester United can do. So I think you don't fear them as much. You don't have to do our first park the bus first half park the bus tactics against Manchester United are not necessary. So I wouldn't play Rodriguez in there. So I would actually obviously bring Alvarez back in. Souček had his worst game from an attacking point of view under Lopetegui. So I'd like to think, again, that might be tactics because he's been a hell of a threat this season. So I would put him in there. But I've got to be honest with you, Gio, had that not been the case, if we'd still had maybe Flynn Downs or James Ward-Prowse, there'd have been a temptation in me to play, maybe Alvarez alongside one of those in this one. But I would, yes, I will be dropping Rodriguez.
I'd have been tempted to play Freddie Potts at this rate. But there's just, it feels like there's a lot of players available, but few options, if that makes sense. So you've got Alvarez, you've got Rodriguez, you've got Souček, you've got Andy Irving, you've got Carl Soler, Lucas Paqueta can play there. So there's like 6 or 7 players you can select for central midfield, but I don't feel like any of them's really grabbed the shirt as such. But I agree with your pairing, Alvarez and Souček, because for the reasons you've given, we don't need to focus on protecting the back four. There needs to be an element of protection. That's why, Alvarez and Souček are both more than capable defensively, but it has to be looked at with an eye on what we can do going forward as well. And Souček arriving in the 18-yarder is something that, listen, we've lost a huge goal threat in Mohammed Kudus. I think there's 3 big goal threats for West Ham this season, although only one of them, Kudus has only got 1 goal, but Kudus has been a goal threat. Bowen has and Souček has. One of them suspended for Sunday. I ain't taking the other one out of the team. I'm assuming you're going to go with an attacking midfield trio.
Yeah, well, if you want to call it that. Yeah, I'm going to start Somerville on the left, which I think is the natural thing to do. But in the absence of Kudus. Bowen on the right, of course. I mean, I don't know if they're going to. Maybe they'll play Martinez there. I don't know what they're going to do. Man United, obviously. I'm not going to predict their lineup. You could do that on Patreon. But I think I'm probably going to go with Soler here. I've seen anything from him. In fact, I'll go further than that. I didn't particularly like what I saw when he was brought on at the Tottenham Stadium or whatever they're calling it. I just don't think you can play like Paqueta played and expect to play the next match and just leave everything or betting stuff out of it for once. We discuss it at length in almost every video.
Yeah.
Just on a playing point of view, I just don't think you can play like that and expect to keep your shirt. And I think even if there was nothing going on, and I was Carlos Soler, who had been brought over from Paris Saint-Germain and being given a chance in the Premier League, and my position was the same position as Paqueta, more or less. I think if the guy that had the shirt in the team had played like that and I didn't play the next game, I'd be having words with the manager and saying, look, mate, what's going on here? He's been crap. Give me a chance. I can open up that Man United defence with my passing. So I'd at least try him there.
And Antonio up front?
Yes, indeed.
It's lack of options again, isn't it, really? I don't really know. I mean, I agree with Somerville, Bowen and Antonio. I don't really know for the 11th man because I agree with what you said about Paqueta. He's not been good. Soler, I've seen nothing from him, Gonzo. I've seen nothing. That guy is far better at being good looking than looking good. He's just, when he comes on, all he does is get a yellow card, argue with the referee, and goes off again at full time. I think, what I have not seen this bloke do anything yet. He looked okay against Ipswich Town, but
yeah,
Calvin Phillips was better for us against Ipswich Town, and he wore an Ipswich Town t-shirt. But I think it's just, I've not seen anything. I want to see something from him, but I've not seen anything. So I think I'm going to go classic 4-4-2 and play Ings up front with.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I want to win this game. And I think I've seen little from Lopetegui to suggest he's going to come up with some tactical master plan. So I think almost let's go 2 up front and hope that, listen, Somerville can be hardworking. Bowen is very hardworking. You might get away with that. Antonio and Ings are more than capable, one of them dropping back into that number 10 role. We've seen Antonio dropping out wide quite often this season already to cover for Jared Bowen and stuff like that. So they are fluid. They are able to come back and help if required to make up numbers. But I look at this Man U defence that they could potentially put out, and we've got to be aiming to score at least 2 on Sunday. And I think what's the best way of doing that? We ain't creating much, Gonzo. No. We're not creating much in open play. So I think we'll get 2 strikers up there, and hopefully between them 2, they can get a goal or 2 between them. Anyway, before we discuss it, we're optimistic. Before we discuss it, we're feeling confident ahead of the game at the London Stadium. Just for point direction of this video sponsors Match Bingo. If you're looking to add a little bit more fun for your viewing on Sunday, because you may need it, then Match Bingo gives you the avenue to do that. And we've got 2 promotions for you. First of all, if you sign up and you deposit £10, they're going to give you £10 credit for free. So you have 20 quid to play with instead of your tenner. And for this game, there's a promotion on where you buy 3 cards, you'll get 5, so you get 2 freebies from Match Bingo as well. So you get a lot more bang for your buck with Match Bingo this weekend. It's combining the traditional game with this football match in particular. You will get 15 events you need to occur throughout the game, and it pays out first person for first line, second line, full house, as well as a bonus pot as well. £275 up for grabs. And we had another Hammers Chat subscriber winner on Monday night when Crystal Palace were playing Nottingham Forest. Forest were looking quite good. We play Forest next. Wonderful. We had another winner. Bob won the second line, so he pocketed himself £50 whilst watching a 1-0.
That's a really boring game.
It was
well done.
Bob got paid to watch a really boring game.
Really, didn't you?
Links in description below. QR code is on your screen. Use one of those, and you have to use one of those to download the app and sign up. And thank you very much to everybody who has got involved with Match Bingo, and good luck if you're playing along this weekend. Gonzo, are you feeling optimistic?
Yes, I am feeling
optimistic.
Are you? Actually, no, I'm not feeling optimistic, but I'm feeling confident. I usually do it the other way around.
You're confident?
Yeah.
Right. Can you present your evidence, please?
Yes, Your Honour. Look,
I'll be honest with you. I am not. So I'm looking for a little bit of inspiration. I'm looking for a pick-me-up from you.
Brentford were all over them. All right. We were not. We made tactical mistakes against Tottenham, is what happened. We were actually all right. We were competing. It was tactical errors. Individually, some of the players actually played quite well. If he can get his tactics right, and there's no reason he shouldn't get his tactics right. He it's really important he doesn't. What you say about Moyes, he doesn't pick a team to face the badge. He's got to pick a team to face the club. They are an average. They've got average players. I could pick a number. I could pick several players. You didn't mention Newcastle. Newcastle, I'd imagine more Newcastle players get in my team if I'm picking a Newcastle Man United 11. They're an average Premier League team at the moment. They've got an average manager. I mean, he's not a world-class manager. He should be able to out-tactic him. He's not even the best Dutch manager in Lancashire, for goodness sake. So if Lopetegui can't get one over on this guy, then we really do have a problem. I think so as well. Funny enough, you say Nottingham Forest. I'm more concerned with the Nottingham Forest away game.
So am I, actually. Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think Bowen's going to be up for it. I think I'm a bit worried about Højlund coming back. Don't get me wrong. I think Edson Alvarez is going to have an absolute barnstormer of a game. I think the centre backs can still be really good. I think Wan-Bissaka is going to have a real point to prove, and I think he'll probably prove it as well. Despite the loss against Tottenham, I think Emerson still looked good as well. I think we can't be that bad with our distribution from goalkeeper again, because I do think it'll be sorted out on the training ground. If none of this happens, then we just have a really incompetent manager. I don't think he's that bad. I think the truth is probably somewhere in between. I don't think he's the Messiah, and I don't think he's a very naughty boy. I just think he's probably okay. But I think okay is probably enough to beat Manchester United, because I think we have a number of players who would get into their team. I think they're travelling down. I think they're playing Fenerbahce. Are they playing Fenerbahce? Sorry, yeah, not us.
Yeah, it's Mourinho's team.
Eric Varus, that's who he played in the Dewberry. Fenerbahce have actually won their last 7 home games in the Europa League as well. So they don't necessarily going to have it easy against them, by the way. Man United, we don't know, because with Gio mentioned we record this before that game happens. But he's not going to be able to get away with playing a second string out there against them. That's for sure. I think they're going to come in a little bit tired. They're playing in Europe. We're not. I just think we're going to beat them, mate.
Yeah, listen, I think you make a good case, and there's some advantages to not playing in European football, and this game is one of them. They're playing in Turkey. We're not playing. We've had 8 days since our last game before we play Man U. There's no excuses to not be prepared for this one. There's no excuses not to be up for this one. Ten Hag's already got a couple in his back pocket, which is the game on Thursday night, and that's fine. Those reasons are valid. Doesn't mean he'll get away with it, but those reasons are a thing. I think the Mohammed Kudus is a big loss for us, and I think that's possibly got me a little bit grumpy. And also when Lopetegui after the game against Spurs spoke about how players are struggling to understand him, there's things being lost in translation. I'm thinking, this is not what I need to hear right now, that you're 10 games in and you're struggling to get what you want to happen across to the players. And he's spoken about, getting a translator, and I think, bloody hell, this is a...
Hey, he does say club instead of club, I've noticed.
Well, how did he say job centre? Because he might need to know that soon.
Job.
Tube.
It's like club. It's like club. Job.
Well, I might need one of them if he don't get his act together pretty sharpish. So I'm not feeling optimistic for this one. And it's really, I hate how pessimistic I'm feeling, actually, because this is a fixture I want to bloody win. Tottenham away, Man Utd hope. Those are the two fixtures. When the fixture list comes out, that's the two I'm looking at. I'm thinking those, and we've got them back to back. I'm like, come on, man, here we go. Well, we've just got slapped, so we could win this one, please, Mr. Lopetegui. I'd much appreciate it. Can I get any final words from yourself, Gonzo?
I didn't know about the trans. Do you know what? It's funny. I pour over everything that's said. I feel like I read everything and watch everything. But
it's because of our patron, Joan. Joan said left a comment on my review, and she said to me, like, he's speaking about needing a translator, and I was like, what? And I went and had a look, and right enough, he said it. He's talking about how players were. I've got it here. Let me read it out to you. This is Gonzo's live reaction you're going to get. I'm just buying time. After the game, Lopetegui said he was quizzed about the second half performance, and he said, for sure, we're concerned about this. This is what a coach should be concerned about, and today's been a bad thing. It's one thing we can improve. Despite the fact we're playing maybe one of the best teams in the Premier League in the attacking phase, I do think we could do better. In the defensive phase, we'll have to do better. Maybe I have to improve too. My translation with players, for sure. So it's
Maybe I did hear him say it, but I just didn't understand him. That's a joke. By the way, don't start on me. Thank you. Come back to the board on that. That's what Stites to be saying next. I didn't want him. Sullivan told me to appoint him. I didn't understand a bloody word he said.
I told him he wasn't getting a job, and he turned up here to start work. He didn't understand my translation.
With his bag and his backroom team.
I start to work. I've been watching West Ham for 1 year.
Oh dear!
I got PowerPoint presentation for you, Senior.
Oh dear! I'm going to do the next joke.
If you don't laugh, you cry, as you said.
Sorry. What were we asking? What's the
final words? Score prediction. How we always end the preview.
That's right. Oh my words. Okay, well, my final words are I'm not feeling very good about the club at the moment. But my score prediction would be that West Ham are we're gonna win this 2-1, Gio. We're gonna win this 2-1.
I don't fear Man United, but I do fear West Ham United. So I'm going to go down the middle, and I'm going to say 1-1 for this game. If you've enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammers Chat. Get the Match Bingo app downloaded and signed up. Links in the description below. And myself and Gonzo. We'll catch you in a bit.